doing this astral projection, and he had the feeling of leaving his own body, floating up to the ceiling and looking down on himself. And he said he was so fucking frightened that he stopped it all immediately and never repeated it again. The human brain has the capability of doing that. So why wouldn't it do something similar just before death? It's a death sentence.
What are we talking about today?
Death.
Surprise, surprise. Today we're actually talking about near-death experiences.
Okay, yeah.
So what do you know about those, if anything?
I think there are things that are reported over and over again, certain phenomena, certain sets of things that happen that you hear. They say they're like premise of lots of films. Don't, go towards the light or don't go towards the light. There's those type of things. I think the things that I understand from it from a practical point of view is that your olfactory, is that smelling?
Nose, yeah.
Auditory, that is, people are likely to still be able to hear, aren't they, when they're really close to death? So they tend to, there's reports of things that they hear more. But yeah, when we talk about a near-death experience, I suppose we're talking about somebody that's jump-started back to life, or...
I think like someone who's died and then is now living. So
what constitutes death in that way?
Well, yeah, this is it. So there's lots of information out there. There's loads and loads of research about near-death experiences, and really, like, we're going to skim over the surface of it, really.
Okay.
But lots of people report that if they've had a near-death experience, so they've been close to death, been outside of their body and observed someone working on them if they've flatlined.
Yeah, that's
so if their heart has stopped, and then they've come back to life. Now, there's also a thing called the 7 minutes concept or something like that, where
what's that?
Where the brain is still active for 7 minutes after death.
Yeah.
I'll go into that more in a minute. Okay. So basically, I had a little research about it. There's so much stuff. I've been listening to a podcast on it as well, people's own experiences, which is really interesting. And they are quite similar.
Yes.
A lot of people have a similar experience when it comes to near death.
I think there's a lot that's argued, like from a scientific point of view. She says like she's a scientist, but that because people report a similar thing, it's either a magical phenomena and it actually does happen, or it is a physical response to the body shutting down, and those shared experiences are actually just something that's sort of physically happening to us.
And near-death experience for me sits right in between science and like the mystical.
Yeah, because we can't prove it. It's a bit like, near-death is a bit like trying to explain a dream, isn't it? So you're still conscious. Or are you?
Sort of, yeah. So lots of things that they have in common were like seeing bright lights or beautiful lights. Lots of people report seeing the most beautiful light, feeling peaceful, feeling whole, feeling like they are in the presence of somebody who knows them as well as they know themselves.
Now, this is interesting. So I listened to a podcast recently, and everything you've just described is also the shared experience of people doing DMT.
Which is
hallucinogenic drugs.
Okay, right, okay. So I wonder if it is an out-of-body...
ayahuasca, like there's tribal ceremonies where they're doing these hallucinogenic drugs. People describe a beauty, a oneness, a almost sort of godlike type experience, but particularly with DMT over some of the others. I was just doing a bit of research for myself.
Of course, some personal
but very
research.
Interesting that they are reporting very similar things.
Yeah. And I always thought that people who might have a near-death experience, I've never had one. So I always thought, I wonder if you'd see like your loved ones who've died. Some people report that, but not everybody.
No.
Some people report it being like a finding of being themselves, fully being themselves. And it's a very individual experience rather than going to heaven and your loved ones being there, like a feeling of wholeness and the most loved you've ever felt. And some people obviously then have said that they have met God.
Yeah.
And
whatever they perceive.
Yeah, their version of God. And also that they've met family members who've died. So there's a vast sort of
array
of
I
experiences.
wonder whether, this kind of euphoria that you're describing, people having that feeling of completeness, wholeness, whatever you want to call it, could that be a physicality to, a response, a physical response? There are things that say the moments before death, the brain is actually super active, isn't it?
There was some research to say that when somebody died, that their brain activity spiked.
Yes.
And that then led everyone to believe that it was your brain replaying the best moments of your life.
Okay.
So I don't know how...
That's also fairly far-fetched and quite subjective, isn't it?
Yeah, that was like, some people said that it was in keeping with near-death experience.
Yeah.
That sort of, it was like a replay of things potentially of, and you see that in the movies, don't you? Like your best bits being replayed. Mine would be very short.
Oh!
No, I'm joking. So what is it? Do you remember Flatliners, the film?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, so I used to love that back in the day.
Maybe
and there's a new one, like a new version of it, an updated version.
Really? It's because they run out of really good ideas and just
so they're just redoing all the old ones. And it's actually very good, the new one. I've watched them both.
Who was the original cast?
It was...
It's not Kevin Bacon, is it?
I
feel like it is him. We're going to have a discussion.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Can't remember.
Hello, perimenopause. Can anyone remember anything? No.
It was the guy who was in... I can see him. I can actually see him.
Did he have like sort of
blondish
80s hair?
Yeah. I can't remember. Okay. It's gone from me.
Yeah,
but the premise of Flatliners was that they were medical students and they were flatlining basically and bringing each other back to life.
Yeah.
And that euphoria that they experienced was like a buzz and they were chasing it.
Okay.
So that was like...
Just another example of humans chasing ecstasy.
Yeah, basically, yeah. Okay. So, and it became, I think, addictive. And then I think they were having sort of circumstances happen after that obviously wasn't conducive with a happy lifestyle.
Or to keep dying.
Killing yourself and bringing yourself back all the time. Okay. But I suppose not everybody that dies has an NDE.
No.
Which is a near-death experience. No. And I wouldn't. It makes me wonder who has it, what type of person.
Yeah.
I always thought that was really interesting. Like
well, it's a bit like we all have the capability of dreaming, and we all do dream most nights when we're asleep. But some of us tend to remember rather lucid dreams at certain periods of our life, or some people just remember them all of the time. And then there are other people that claim to never remember their dreams. So I wonder if that's the same premise of, I know I keep linking it back to dreams, but for me, it is that kind of ethereal in the middle ground between consciousness and not.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is akin to being asleep.
And I suppose it's something you can associate with that feeling of...
Yeah.
And some of the experiences that I've listened to, they said it is like that moment where they've died was almost like falling into, like when you're just falling asleep and you're falling into a dream, almost like that, almost like standing on the edge of a cliff. Some people have reported it, standing on the edge of a cliff and taking that first step.
Yeah.
That's what they've likened it to.
Like a physical feeling of falling.
Like being torn from reality, like being ripped from what is your body is now, being taken from it.
Yeah.
So I thought that was interesting.
Have you ever had a experience of like a sleep apnea? Like when you're dreaming, but you're actually consciously awake, but your body isn't.
Oh, so not sleep apnea, is it?
Well, that's the only way I've ever known it be described. I've had it a few times. So apnea is the breathing, isn't it? But
yeah. So
when you're
sleep apnea is when you don't take enough breath and then you wake yourself up from.
So there must be a different medical term for what I'm describing. But do you know
there is, but I can't remember it.
So you know that you're awake, but you can't make your body move.
Yeah, it's like almost like you wake up before
you're paralysed.
Your brain wakes up before your body wakes up.
I used to get it a lot as a teenager.
Oh, really?
Yeah, really frightening.
Yeah,
really frightening. But
it's in a lot of horror stories.
Wonder whether that is like a similar kind of feeling, but not as nice.
But you're more sort of in the moment, aren't you? You just can't do anything about it.
But again, we're still exploring those realms of consciousness.
Yeah, as to what's real. And they say that sometimes if people have like reported seeing spiritual things or ghosts or demons or something like that, that it could be a case of they're or they can't move or whatever. There's reports that it could be something to do with that, like you're not fully awake and your body can't respond and your brain is still catching up and it's somewhere in between waking and sleeping. It's in that realm.
In your research for this episode, have you ever come across anybody reporting anything that's less than nice for a near-death experience? Because what we tend to hear is the same kind of thing. It's all quite nice, isn't it?
The ones that I've listened to are all fairly positive. A lot of them seem to sort of be offered a choice. So the one I was just listening to on the way here was a lady who was pregnant and she had struggled to get pregnant. It was her second child and it was very much loved, and she had like an spontaneous internal bleed, and she went to hospital and ended up being very poorly. And she reported like basically sort of feeling like she'd been ripped from her body and talking to the Archangel Michael.
Okay, right.
So she was obviously maybe religious and believed in all that.
Yeah.
And he basically said to her, you've got a choice. You know, it was lovely, and it was a lovely warm reception, and she was, you know, she felt joyous and tunnel of light, all this beautifulness and whatever else, all the similar stuff that everybody reports. And he said, you know, you can stay if you want, but let me tell you 3 things that, you know, potentially might change your mind.
Okay.
And he told her the 3 things that, like, you know, you're pregnant and you will have your baby and you'll have surgery tomorrow and it will be successful if you go back to your body.
Right.
And you'll have your baby and it will be healthy. And the other thing is that you will feel, you will have a difficult few years and it will be a hard time.
Right. Wow.
So he laid it out. He was honest. He was like, yeah. You know, you're going to get that, but it's going to be pretty shit.
Just so you know, everybody, life is a bit good and also a bit shit.
Bad, yeah. So, and obviously she took the path to come back to her family. That's her experience of it. And I just found it fascinating that she was given the option. And a lot of people seem to be either given the option or said, it's not your time.
Yeah, I mean, that is
we love having you here, but it's not your time.
We see that theme in films a lot, don't we?
Yeah. So what science says is could it be the brain under extreme stress? You know, that it creates this
something more palatable
safety net for us. The lack of oxygen, the chemicals being released by your body. Is it all just survival mode?
Yeah.
You know, that it's arguable that that's what it could be. Sort of when memory and imagination sort of blends into one and creates this experience for us that, because the actual harsh reality of it is just too much to bear. So, you know, that's an argument.
And we know that the brain, if it's under duress, will respond like that. The brain will also respond in interesting ways when it is incredibly calm, like through meditation, for example. And people claim to really, you know, attain nirvana, for example, or, you know, where they become in a state that is completely different to their waking life. So again, we're exploring things that the brain is enormously capable of things that we don't understand at all.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
There was a guy called Dr. Sam Palmer, and he did an AWARE study, which was a landmark investigation into human consciousness and near-death experience during cardiac arrest.
Wow.
So his case, you can find it on the internet. It's long. There's lots of information out there. It's long. But he looked into like sort of human consciousness and how that was affected.
Yeah.
So the 7-minute concept that I talked about earlier, you see that everywhere, like on the movies and things like that. But in near-death experience, it says the scientific theory that observations of the brain, it surges in electrical activity in the cortex, and it suggests that it replays memories. That's the suggestion it gives. So the 7-minute concept being that for 7 minutes after death, your brain is still active, and it suggests that there's a surge in activity.
I know that we've tackled this before from a biological point of view, but you can exist and come back from when you stop breathing, but it's only for a couple of minutes before it affects your brain, right?
Well, if there's no oxygen going to your brain, it's pretty, you know,
bleak.
You're not going to have.
That's
I
what
don't know
so
how
for
long
somebody
it is.
to experience a near death, well, we're assuming that they are literally dying and coming back. But near death could just be
that they were near death,
Yeah.
but they didn't actually die.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's the difference.
Possibly. Yeah.
But then it says there's anecdotal accounts of people who've medically been pronounced dead for 7 minutes and who have reported out-of-body visions, or people who have been in operating theatres and had surgery.
And reported seeing themselves.
And reported being floating above their body or standing in the corner and observing and actually being able to come back and say what people have been talking about. Or
I'm going to deviate here. I've just had this memory. So I often talk about my dad. And he studied something called astral projection.
I thought about your dad when
Did you?
Yeah.
Have I told you this story before?
No, but I thought about astral projection because I've seen it in a film.
Yeah. So my dad was obviously quite an interesting man. A lot of people didn't know. Done his funeral, and we sort of said he studied astral projection, transcendental analysis, hypnosis, all of these things. And he said to me once that he got really interested in it. He read a few books about it. For those who don't know much about it, astral projection is being able to consciously take yourself out of your body and witness yourself from somewhere else. That's a very, very much a layman's terms. I'm sure that there's somebody out there that knows a lot more about it than you can correct me. But he said he did it once. And he said he was in his bed and he was doing this astral projection and he had the feeling of leaving his own body, floating up to the ceiling and looking down on himself. And he said he was so fucking frightened that he stopped it all immediately and never repeated it again.
Wow.
But what that tells us, Carrie, is that the human brain has the capability of doing that. So why wouldn't it do something similar just before death?
Yeah. I do. I'm all in. I believe it.
Yeah,
I believe all the.
I think there's so much phenomena and so much magic that is possible that we, as we are in life at the moment with science and technology, we just really want to write everything off and give it a reason. Everything's got to have a reason and it's got to be this. But if we are open to these different kind of phenomena, if you like, then everything becomes possible, including what we're talking about now being. Well, it still actually could be both, couldn't it? Is it reaction to the brain doing something? But if we've got the capability of training our brain to astral project, for example, I don't know. Do you know where I'm going? It just made me think about that.
It's mad, isn't it? Like, what if it's not just the brain protecting itself? What if it is like you say? What if it's something spiritual?
And the very fact that there's so many reports of something so similar throughout history.
Yeah. And like you said, like culturally. Like the you were talking about the West Indian tribal.
Oh, the ayahuasca. Yeah.
Tribal things. Culturally, that's part of their part of their culture, isn't it, to do that?
Yeah.
And they all report the same thing.
Yeah.
So
and also, there's peyote is the other one, isn't it? Ayahuasca, and then DMT, which is as far as I know, like a kind of chemical derivative of these hallucinogenics. There's magic mushrooms that grow in the fields across the road, but what we see is humans, wherever they are in the world, going, oh, well, if we take these weird plants, which they are essentially, we have these really wild experiences. But it's a kind of shared experience, which some people then believe is a connection to God, the universe, whatever.
Yeah.
And some people just think it's a really wild high, I suppose. But it depends on how you perceive the world, really, doesn't it?
The one thing for me that it seems to be that people are changed by it.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Whatever the experience and whatever it is and wherever it's coming from, people are changed by it.
Yeah.
People have
and they're seeking it out.
Yeah.
It seems part of our nature, doesn't it?
Yeah.
To be either seeking it out or be fascinated by it enough to research it or want to know about it.
Yeah. And I think a lot of the people who, I've listened to quite a few stories about it. I'm fully involved. I'm really in there thinking, I believe all these things. A lot of them say that afterwards they found it really difficult to not want to go back to that state.
Yeah.
Almost they are missing that feeling,
that heightened
wholeness.
Awareness.
Yeah, that feeling of wholeness and being 100% accepted, which we're all chasing, aren't we? Everybody wants to be loved and accepted, and to just know that that's there at the end of your life here.
Would you ever do anything like that? Any of those type of
drugs?
Yeah.
Probably not, because I'm a pussy. Not going to lie.
Really?
Yeah, probably not.
I definitely.
But I find it interesting. You can do it and let me know.
Never ever being able to come back. Sorry, Carrie.
Yeah.
I can't do the podcast this week. It turns out I really, really like being out of my brain box.
Yeah.
But the good news is I know what's on the other side.
Yeah.
And I can let you know.
Yeah. So people have reported that the after effects, like I said, people just seem to be changed by it. And a lot of people report the loss of fear of death, which is...
That's interesting. Yes.
Amazing, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
Shifting priorities. But a lot of these changes remind me of grief. The changes that you have when you're in grief. Shift of priorities, maybe not so much the loss of fear of death, but,
it's a
struggle to reconnect with people who haven't had the same experience.
Yeah.
Which I think
But I suppose you could say any significant event in your life will make you reflect differently on your life and inevitably your death, I suppose.
Yeah. It's a bit like, when I was listening to it, I kept thinking, it's almost like, adrenaline junkies. And they get that high from doing something outrageous, like jumping out of an airplane, and they seek that next high.
Yeah.
I wonder if this feeling of euphoria is like in Flatliners. They sort of chase it because it's so
I think
exhilarating.
Is it not part of our human nature?
Well,
I wonder whether it is. So curiosity is part of our human nature, and chasing something that makes us excited or feel joy.
Yeah.
So we should do that this afternoon based on the conversation we had this morning.
Chase joy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll probably get to the light.
I've been looking everywhere for the joy.
Yeah.
And I've looked under the kitchen table.
And it's not there.
It's not there.
Yeah. I'll probably get sent to the light and get sent straight back. I can just look
like
in
that.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. We still need you to do God's work.
Yeah. But do we need it to be true? This whole, I think as humans, we are searching for purpose, searching for there to be something after death.
It's not just something, it's something better.
Yeah.
I think people are looking for something, even if you've had a good life. I'm not saying, I'm not being depressing about it, but I think we're all looking for something that makes any of the bad experiences worth it.
Yeah. Because you feel like I've been through this tough time.
Where's
to get
my
a good
fucking
result.
reward?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's basically it.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, if you ask them what they think happens after death, like we sort of have asked lots of people, a lot of them say, you go to heaven. And heaven for them is something that is beautiful and peaceful and great.
And magical.
Which is, a bit like being on holiday. So, like I said, near-death experiences sit in between that space between science and hope.
Yeah.
And I think some people don't believe them. I think some people do. I'm definitely on the believing side.
Oh, yeah, I would be as well.
And listening to the more experiences I've listened to, the more interested I've got in it. Yeah. So whether you think it's the afterlife or your brain trying to protect you, I think it's fascinating.
Yeah,
whichever way
also
it goes.
You can't know the answer to that.
No. And, I think we could dive into this so much further, like culturally, what different cultures believe happens after death. And I'd really like somebody who may be listening to, if they've had a near-death experience.
Yes, if that's you and you happen to be watching this or you know somebody, please get in touch with us, because that would be a magical interview.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And I think that this subject could go a lot further. And like I said, we've literally just dusted over the top of it today. Yeah. But
perhaps
I really would.
we'll do a part 2. Should we do a part 2? We'll see if we can get a guest.
Yeah.
And maybe look a little bit deeper into maybe some case studies. Let's see if we can find a couple of people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lovely.
So after all of that, we're always dying to talk to you.
And
Goodbye.
We'll see you next time.
Thank you, dear listeners, for tuning in to It's a Death Sentence. Please keep listening to our weekly episodes.
And if you like our show, please like, share and subscribe.
We are dying to talk to you.
It's a